Hey, it's Mr. Wagner here for my seventh grade social studies class. 4:30 at home instruction is the discussion for the day. Looking at the directions here, and you have to watch this YouTube video first. Don't even know if this will be able to something I can click on, but it is going to talk about Buddhism, and I love Buddhism. I have some Buddhist tendencies sometimes. The video is probably going to talk about Siddhartha Gautama. It's a book you might read called Siddhartha in high school, and he is similar to Jasmine from the Lion King, from Aladdin, and he's sheltered and he's supposed to live this life. He actually does. Jasmine doesn't get married in the Aladdin, but he gets married and he's got the life, and his parents shelter him a whole lot. And they have an oracle that says he's gonna abandon the life of the rich and be the savior, or he's going to be the king and something like that. So they're worried and they are very protective. So just like Jasmine in Aladdin, he sneaks out because it's not right. He doesn't know what's out there, and the curiosity kills the cat, right? So he sneaks out, and he sneaks out these different times, and he sees somebody who's suffering, and he's never seen that before because everybody's like young and robust and working for him, and if somebody gets sick that's working at his palace, then they leave, or if they die, he's never seen that. He doesn't understand that there's suffering in the world. So I see somebody who's sick, somebody who's dying, and somebody who's dead. Um, Fun stuff. And he's never seen that before, and it makes him go, "Whoa, life's full of all this suffering." Um, so then he becomes an ascetic. An ascetic, men of power or royalty would have like really long hair, like I'm getting. No, they would have like down to halfway down your back hair if you're a royal young person. And he cuts that off and doesn't eat much, barely eats, meditates a lot, gives up most worldly possessions, and it's called becoming an ascetic. And he understands enlightenment. So it's like Hinduism, but it's like the Hinduism upgrade, because the idea isn't to reincarnate, and then reach what's the term, moksha, and then become part of the Brahman. The idea for Buddhism is that you reach enlightenment, and then so it's like kind of like snakes and ladders, because you kind of like pass all that reincarnation. In some ways, you can do that. Anybody can do it, and it's not like keeping you in your caste. You don't have to level up. You just reach enlightenment if you can, and it can be more appealing to people. Buddhism was spread by Ashoka when he took over India, but then once he wasn't in charge, it kind of faded away and became more of a East Asia thing, for whatever reason. But Hinduism actually is a flexible religion, and they adopted Buddha, which is Siddhartha Gautama, once he becomes enlightened and reaches nirvana. But Buddha became a form of Shiva, one of the gods in Hindu religion. They made him Buddha. Yeah, come on, that sounds good. You'll be part of our religion too. So maybe that's why you didn't see a lot of people switch to Buddhism, because they just stuck with Hinduism because it met all their daily requirements. Buddhism says that the world is full of suffering, and that the only way to stop suffering is it's not just like suffering like, oh no, I can't go hang out with my friends because it's COVID-19 pandemic. Suffering is like the fact that not every day of your life you're getting amazing new presents, and if you collect baseball cards or something, like, you can never have all of them because the next year they come out with new ones. Or you can be an amazing, I don't know, 12th prestige in Call of Duty, but it doesn't matter because then they're just going to come up with the next Call of Duty next November, and you have to start all over. You can never have enough money because there's too many things to possibly buy, so you're just going to be frustrated. I worked at Acme when you push the carts, and no matter how many times you bring them in, they'll just keep taking them, going in the store and buying them and bringing them out. So it's like, no matter what, you're always going to have that suffering. And the only way to get around that is to give up almost everything, have barely anything, just enough to eat, just enough of a shelter to live, and meditate and then reach this nirvana where you don't have any worries and you understand inner peace. Sounds kind of nice. I think after I help my kids during their at-home instruction, and when they finally go outside, when they're done their work, I think I reach nirvana every day when it's Mr. Wagner's just like relaxation time. So that's mostly what the video, it's more biographical of Siddhartha, but it does start to dance around the idea of the Buddhism. And then there is the notes. I have to give a shout out to my son's teacher, who we kind of borrowed this from. But then you fill in the Buddhism notes worksheet. Right? And you find the answers that you will type into this. And this is the form that you submit. And the answers are in this slideshow. And it's too long ago. We might have done half of this in class or not. I mean, if you find the papers with you, take a picture and send it in instead of doing the work again. But we wanted to be exactly equal with what's going on in Mr. Euchren's class. Plus, Buddhism is like, I'm not asking you to convert to Buddhism, but it kind of like helps you think like spiritually, like about like being a good person and how it doesn't matter what religion you are. It's kind of like similar idea of like, man, you get distracted by like having a lot of video games or getting prestiges or streaks in Snapchat. You can really miss out on a lot of stuff and never find peace. So the answers are underlined. So you should kind of fly through this. And that's how you do it. You just then type your answers right in here. Right? So like the answer to the first one, it began in India. Then you would type India right here. Boom. That's how that works. After that, there is I'm looking at the Spanish directions. I can kind of understand it. There is a Nuzella on Buddhism. I'm going to try to cut down on the Nuzellas and get more like 2 things a day instead of 3. So the video and then something to do, and then the Nuzella is today, and then it's going to kind of start to go down to just the video and then something to do. Okay, so Buddhism, really neat thing. Not asking you to convert to it. You got to give up too much stuff. But I think we're all living a more simple lifestyle right now because you can't go out many places, and so we're kind of living. We're kind of living like a Spartan lifestyle right now that you learned about last year. But in some ways, it's more simple and more time to think. So I don't know if we're actually being Buddhists or quasi-Buddhists, but it's kind of an interesting topic. Since I was in like 7th grade, I was interested in world religions and just understanding that there's a difference in the world. And why would they think that? So hopefully you learn a lot, and you can email me any questions you have. And I'm slowly getting to the essays, and I hope you did well. So do well in all your classes, and be well. Wagner out.